Hey, it's Bryce Taylor, and welcome to another episode of CTE Explained on City Schools TV. In this series, we dive deep into different CTE programs, talk with students, and get a real feel for what it's like. And this episode is all about cars, and cars. Yes, we are at Forest Park High School to check out their automotive pathway and talk to our world's future technicians. So without further ado, let's roll. All right, so for this demonstration, Donna's gonna teach us how to change the brake rotors and the pads. All right, so what's the first step, man?
Well, the first step is to take out the caliper pins, to take the caliper off, and then you take off the brake pads. Then there's two bolts that hold the bracket on, to hold this on to the rotor. So you take the two bolts out behind there, and then you take the bracket off, and then the rotor come off.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
So now you're just gonna take the bolts off.
Yeah.
So do you like automotive?
Yes.
Was this your first choice?
Yeah.
Why'd you choose it?
Because I find it fixing car interesting.
What are your plans after high school?
To open up my own business.
What is the tool that you're using?
A wrench and a size 13 socket.
And then once you pop these off, what's next?
Well, you gotta set the caliper somewhere so that the brake line won't pop while it's hanging. Sit it back here so that it won't hang and pop the brake line. Then you take the brake pads off.
Now see, what do the brake pads actually do?
The brake pads sit in the bracket, and when you press the brake inside the car, the piston inside the caliper pushes out, and the brake pads squeeze onto the rotor to stop the car.
So that's how the wheels stop turning?
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite part about automotive?
Going underneath the hood.
You do have classes. What is the routine like?
Well, first is safety. It's very important because you can get injured.
Be pretty serious and always paying attention.
Yeah.
All right. So now what are we gonna do? We're gonna get a new one of those?
Yes.
Or these just?
This is the bracket.
It just sits here? And you screw it in?
Yeah.
All right. And where does this one go? I'll screw this one.
The bottom. No, right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Pretty tight as it's gonna get. Uh-huh. Now we just use the socket wrench to make it tighter?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so we got the new brake pads on and we got the new rotor on. So that's it, right?
Yes.
All right, thanks, Donna. We'll do that. All right, so now we're gonna get to the next demonstration. Let's head out. All right, so now I'm here with Malachi and Jai, and they're gonna take me through a routine maintenance check. So, just popping open the hood.
Yes. Me.
Here we go. All right, so in a routine maintenance check, what are we looking for?
The basic stuff under the hood, like the oil, windshield fluid, power steering fluid. Let's pop this up real quick. Coolant filters. That's one. That's two. Brake fluid. You don't really gotta check the battery. That's pretty good.
All right, so what we checking first?
Check the windshield fluid first. Pull that out. If you see that's pretty good because you see the color in it. So that's pretty full.
And if it was more clear, that's how you know we need to put more in?
Yeah.
All right,
but
so that's good.
we're gonna put a little bit more in there to get it up. We're gonna grab a funnel.
Okay.
Wipe it out. Okay, make sure it's clean. We pop that in there.
Pull it through?
Yeah. All right, that should be good. That should be good.
All right, what's next?
The antifreeze coolant next.
The antifreeze?
That's that, yep.
Okay.
All right, sit that in there.
How do you know when to stop?
It has a line on the side.
It's a max line. You don't want to put too much because it's not good for the car.
So, Jai, how did you get into the automotive program?
Pretty cool. I like it. I like working on cars. I like knowing about it. I know a lot of people that know stuff about cars, so I was like, why not?
It's pretty dope.
So these are the air filters.
And what are we looking for to see if they're
dirty.
it's dirty or dusty?
Yeah, pretty clean.
That's pretty clean.
Pretty clean.
And
Good.
you just pop them back in?
Yeah, it's popping back, but it puts me in.
So, guys, what are some of the things that, people bring the cars into shops and they pay like a bunch of money for that they could just do by themselves?
Check your oil. Like, pull that out. Like, if it's like, see how it's like brown like that? If it's too dark, then that means it's old. So you should want to change it. You could do that yourself to save some money.
So the cool thing is when you guys have cars, you get your cars, you already know what to do with them if there's a problem. You only have to go to the mechanic if you really need to, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like a deal to me. Yeah, that seems pretty simple. I feel like people should, learn how to do this for real, because it's saving money.
Yeah, a lot of money. All
Is
right.
that it?
Yeah.
So we're good now.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jai.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Malachi. You know, if you're watching, I really hope you paid attention because a lot of those things seem like you can do them yourselves and you really don't have to go to the mechanic. You can save an extra buck or two, so, you know. So I'm here with the automotive instructor, Coach Markley.
Yes.
All right. What are some of the skills that you would say the kids acquire as they go through and as they learn the entire process?
Teamwork is number one, because around here we do teamwork. Every station we do, they have a shop supervisor and a shop assistant. That's what we call them here. Just a lot of lifelong skills that they can use.
So it's always good just for kids to have that option in case they don't go to college or anything, just to have skills like this so they can get jobs.
Absolutely, yes.
So, just to recap, we learned how to assess a car, how to change the rotors and the brake pads on some brakes, and we got to speak with some of our world's future technicians. I need to hurry up and get a car just so I can work on it, because this is pretty dang sweet. So, with that being said, this has been Bryce Taylor with another episode of CTE Explained on City Schools TV. See you next time.